Good morning, class. Today we are going to begin filling type number 12, filling type and modify using the type tool and paste into options and some special effects to enhance the image. In this Word doc tutorial, we have a couple of different Word docs, filling the type and using the text. Open those up, and I want you to read through there. There's some step-by-step instructions and some criteria that you should follow. Also, using text, the other document will kind of help with some images and helpful hints of what warp text can do and what other type of text options we have in Photoshop. So read through those, might be helpful. Okay, we're going to start in Photoshop. Here's when I've begun. Close that down, I'll show you again. I'm going to start a new file. The width we want to set up at 14 inches. Make sure this is at inches and not pixels. You might need to switch that. Height is at 6 and at 72 resolution. We want our image size is 1.25 megabytes, so that is a good size. Any larger, we might run into some, issues. We don't need to print, so we can keep it at screen res. RGB color mode is good at 8-bit, and then we'll just use a white background. Okay, click OK. And here's our workspace. One thing I want to show you before we begin is an interesting website. People have created different types of fonts all around the world, and it is called dafont.com, and it is just filled with really neat different type and text options. I like the decorative under fancy. I think that's an interesting one. So there's a whole field of work out there to be had for just creating typography and different types of text for websites and just different applications. Graffiti is also an interesting one, but you can peruse all of them and don't go nuts with it because you can download these for free, but just take what you need, don't be greedy. Alright, so let's go back and I'll show you how to download something if you're interested. Let's say I want this Oriole one. I'm going to, well, I downloaded that last time. Let's check this wet Arial font. Simple Arial font, but somebody's applied some Photoshop effects to create this kind of wet texture on there. Let's download real quick. It's going to probably pop up in your downloads. And here it is, wet Arial. Let's click on that folder. Now you're going to need to look for in the folder the TTF file. There's a couple TTF files. There's probably a bold and some type of other. Let's scroll this out so you can see. Oh yeah, a wet Arial light and a wet Arial black. Okay, let's click on that. And it should pop open in our font book. Sorry about that. It was taking a while for the font book to load. So here we have our wet Arial black. We're going to click on the install font button. The spinning rainbow wheel of death. That's never a good sign. Let me pause again. Well, for some reason the font book is not responding, so you probably won't have any problem. You just need to click on when the font book is open, you just need to click on the install font button, and it will put it into any application on the computer, whether it be Photoshop, Word, PowerPoint, any type of application. So I'll help you with that later. Into Photoshop, here we go. Let's get down to business. We're going to locate our type tool, and all we need to do is click once. Don't need to scroll. Watch what happens if I scroll. Let's select something else, and I'll scroll. We get a text box, and that's okay. If you have a certain size in mind, that works well. We just need to click. So I'm just going to get rid of my second type layer, drag it to the trash can. I'm going to click once. I'm going to type in the word crimson, and I have my a byte font, and that's taken from Dafont, so I'm going to use that one. I think it's kind of interesting. And here's our character. If you can't find your character, character is located in your window. Here it is, character. Okay, so open that up so you can see it. I put it below my layers. Now what I'm going to do is transform scale my crimson word. Make sure, what do we have here? We have, don't need my layer 1. Get rid of that. Okay, so now we just have one crimson layer. I'm going to Apple T or edit, scale, transform, scale. Okay, Apple T is a quick shortcut command. I'm going to hold down Shift on the keyboard and scroll out. That's going to constrain the size and keep it the way we want it to look. Scroll out. Now if I could let go of Shift and increase the size this way. I think that looks a little bit more interesting. Fills up the space a little bit better. It's good. Double click. Now I need to fill this with something. It's called filling the text. So I'm going to fill this with an image. I'm just going to pull one. I found one earlier right down here off of Google, and it's just a maple leaf picture. Okay, so I'm going to pull that. Maybe I can just drag it onto here. Nope. Okay, so I'm going to go to File, Open, and locate it off the desktop. Over there, sorry. Okay, where is my image? Here we go. Go out with a bang, maple leaves. Open up. Here we go. There's our maple leaf. So what I want to do is I'm just going to select all this picture. Okay.
Jill Valeria.
Sorry, the school bell went off. A little announcement there for you. Let's select all on this image. File, or sorry, select all. That'll put our marching ants around this image. We're going to cut it, okay, or we can copy it. Cut or copy, it doesn't really matter. We're going to cut it from this workspace, close it down, and we need to paste it onto this workspace. However, we're going to paste it inside our letter. So what we need to do is go back over to our thumbnail picture under Crimson, hold down the Command or Apple key on the keyboard, click once, and that's going to put our marching ants around this image. I'm going to go to Edit, Paste Into. And there it is. We have a clipping mask here that occurred. Okay, a mask layer appeared. We can move it around. It's not quite the same size as our crimson, so we can adjust this by going back to Edit, Transform, Scale, or Apple T. Okay, hold down Shift, constrain it out. Unless you don't want it too big, we can scale it back, and you can just stretch it. Stretching it also works if you want more of the leaves to kind of show up. Now it does look pixelated back in through there, but once you apply the transform, it will get clear. It should get clear, a little bit better. Okay. All right. Now that's kind of an interesting, thing here. We create some nice texture, some good crimson color back there. What we can do now is play around with the FX, and down below here in your layers options, you have some different buttons. We have the FX button, add a layer style. We can link layers together, add a vector mask, create new fill or adjustment layer. Now we worked with adjustments. When you click on this button, it'll create a new layer with strictly adjustments so that it'll be applied without really applying it to the layer itself. Create a new layer, of course, and then the trash and delete layer. Okay, so let's just play around with effects real quick and do a drop shadow. And this options window will pop up. We can play around with the slider bar. Okay. You can play with inner shadow if you want, outer glow, inner glow, bevel. So check them out. Play around with them. See what you think. I'm going to take the distance up a little bit, spread, and then the size. Whoa, too much. Don't go too far. All right. You can play around with the contour. I don't like these too much, but you can get some different effects depending on what your needs are. Sometimes within design, the effects Photoshop offers are kind of cliche in a way. Then So click on the first one, click OK. There we have it. I'm going to show you one more quick thing before we go. is to add we did this a little bit with the burning candle, but we're gonna click on a new layer and create a glowing aura. So what I'm gonna do is click on this layer 2 and type in glowing aura. Alright, and we are going to now hold down Apple or Command on the type crimson layer. So we select it. Okay, and what we want to do now is I'm going to fill this with a color. I'm going to go to Edit, Fill, and let's, crimson is what crimson colors are crimson red and gold. So I'm going to pick a kind of a gold color. It's close enough for me. I'm not going to spend too much time on that. I'm going to go to Edit Fill. We're in Edit Fill. Click OK. Alright. It changed our layer to gold. I'm going to deselect Apple D or select, deselect. Move this layer. Well, we can play around with the filter first. Next step is to filter it. Filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and apply a subtle hue to this. Click OK, and then we can move it underneath, and there we have kind of a glowing yellow hue, aura, around our crimson. Save this document onto your flash drive, and then into the Maple Grove Senior High save drive. Okay, save as. Type in P1, or if you're in DAW2, P2 dash last name, first name dash text. Let's type in fill text and JPEG. Make sure you change the format to JPEG. I don't want Photoshop files. I want to be able to see them real easily, and then it should say JPEG at the end. Okay, make sure you check all that. Save it to the Maple Grove save. It should pop up here. I don't have it, but it should pop up for you. Okay, click the save button and you're good. I need to see 3 total words. They have to be different words, different fills, different effects applied to them. Okay? Good luck.